Welcome to Westport. This sunny Connecticut town is the home of HMG Strategy. Since the inception of its Transformational CIO Awards in 2012, HMG Strategy has been dedicated to building the industry's most distinguished awards program, recognizing IT's finest individuals whose contributions to their organization are unparalleled. Here to kick off our inaugural National Award celebration for the Global Leadership Institute is President and CEO Hunter Muller. Now, without further ado, let's get this party started.
Hello and welcome to the inaugural National Awards celebration for the HMG Strategy Global Leadership Institute Recognition Program. I'm Hunter Muller, founder and CEO of HMG Strategy, excited to know and to be here with you today. You know, about 14 months ago, we all pivoted digitally and we all went to work from home or work from anywhere environment. At HMG Strategy, within 12 days, we took our Summit of America in New York City from an in-person event to an online event, some 400 folks. 140 digital experiences later, 14 months later, HMG Strategy emerged as the leader in connecting one of the largest digital technology executive leadership networks in North America, arguably the world, connecting you through this pandemic, this global economic crisis. Today, we recognize the first 50 regional awardees on a national, global level. Really thrilled to no end to meet and introduce all those folks here later throughout the program. But we've been doing this program for over 10 years. We launched the Transformational CIO program at the Harvard Club back in 2010, 2011. We're simply an idea that tech leaders deserve to be recognized. Tech leaders deserve to be called out on a national and now a global level, that their work matters, their creativity matters, their teams matter, their companies matter, and truly recognizing them for brilliant efforts around driving leadership, around driving innovation, driving transformation, leading disruption, reimagining the customer journey, reimagining and reinventing new business models and new go-to-markets, rethinking completely line of business engagement, C-suite engagement, and boardroom engagement. So to no end, excited about recognizing folks that are, one, excelling at the former, two, accelerating in the industry, looked at as a thought leader, three, helping the HMG platform, helping the HMG network to build a robust platform and network both regionally in 30 markets and globally. Four, doing give back to other groups such as NPower, Genesis Works, Year Up. And finally, being recognized as a good person in the community and give back to STEM initiatives and helping kids in high schools realize the value of STEM initiatives and STEM education to elevate our whole industry in terms of science, technology, and other disciplines. We have a series of industry luminaries that are going to present their thought leadership on what it takes to be successful in perhaps the most challenging business economic climate ever. First up, best-selling thought leader and author, my good friend, Stephen M.R. Covey from the Covey family and the Speed of Trust. Next, followed by a fireside chat with Gary Sorrentino, the Deputy CIO from Zoom. Followed by a tech talk with Angela Yoakum, EVP and Chief Transformation and Digital Officer at Novant Health, where Angela helped the executive team, the CEO and the complete team reimagine and reinvent healthcare in a challenging environment. Followed by a unique panel of stories highlighting courageous leadership to navigating to a brighter future, including Max Chan of Avnet, Wendy Pfeiffer from Nutanix, Mantha Shamarthi from Stellantis, and Scott Strickland from Wyndham Hotels and Resorts. So we'll close today's program with a video montage of all of the recipients, some 50 plus recipients in this first wave of recognition recipients, followed by a fun, interactive opportunity for you to collaborate and network with other attendees with our V Together platform for a fun, interactive experience. We want to thank our partner, Zoom, today for supporting today's summit and being such a great partner for the past 3+ years to Gary Sorrentino, Harry Mosley, and Eric Wan of Zoom. Finally, without any further delay, let's bring in Stephen. Stephen, great to see you today.
Hi, Hunter. Great to be with you.
And welcome to the program. It's, wow, what a great celebration. And, you know, I'm thrilled to have you here. I've followed you for years and I love your work. Talk to us about the speed of trust and why trust matters so much in business, in your personal life, and in the world.
Yeah, well, thank you, Hunter. I'm thrilled to be here with you. Trust has always been important, of course, but never more so than in our world today, because of all the disruption, the changes, the forces that have hit us. It's put a greater premium on trust more than ever before. And I saw that as I looked at a lot of the videos from the winners of, the winners from these national awards, this whole ceremony, to see people, the CIOs and the CISOs talking about their teams and the culture that they built and the speed at which they can operate. It's all based upon trust. In a very real sense, trust is the new currency of our time. And it enables us to move fast and to multiply everything that we're trying to do and to energize people and cultures. And I saw that as I looked at the award winners and hearing their testimonials about the cultures they built, the teams they have, the work that they're doing. And so it's foundational to that. But I'll tell you why it's become especially vital today. It's because if we get good at trust as leaders and build high trust teams, high trust cultures, we can do everything else that we're trying to do better. So our ability to build a team goes up. It's hard to have a team without trust. Without trust, you're just a group of individuals. It is trust that turns a group into a team. It's transformative. Trust enables us to build inclusivity, inclusion, equity, and diversity, which is so vital today because differences are our strengths when people trust each other. Trust is what enables us to truly collaborate. Without trust, we don't really collaborate. I think we just merely coordinate. Nothing wrong with coordination, but you're leaving a lot of value on the table. There's a gap between your performance and your potential. But you increase the level of trust, you move to a higher level of cooperation, you increase the trust even more, you move to an even higher level of creative, innovative collaboration. And it is trust that turns mere coordination into true collaboration. In a very real sense, trust is the ultimate collaboration tool. You can do everything else you're trying to do better. That's why it's so powerful and vital today.
And there's a financial impact. There's a bottom line financial impact, right? And for some of the technology leaders here, the technology might be the easy piece. The difficulty is building that high-performing culture. You work with groups, companies all around the world across all industries. Tell us more.
Exactly. In fact, Hunter, I presented at a materials handling and logistics conference recently, and the whole premise was to manage our world today, we need two things. We need the technology and we need the trust. And they made your very point. We think we got the technology. The real question is whether or not we have the trust. In a very real sense, it's maybe the harder piece. And the technology is hard. And you know that. Our audience knows this because this is your world. You know so well. But what really is going to leverage this and enable us to run with this in new and different ways is to build and create that trust. And there are economics to trust. To your point, you move faster with less cost. High trust is a multiplier. It is a dividend. Low trust is a tax. It diminishes, dilutes, taxes, everything we're trying to do. Everything takes you longer. Everything costs you more. Whereas with trust, high trust, you move fast, low cost, the speed of trust. I know you're going to have Gary Sorrentino on from Zoom Video Communications. And I worked with Eric Yuan, the founder of Zoom. And I spoke at Zoomtopia and did some things with him. Here's the interesting thing. He makes the point that, as an entrepreneurial organization, how speed is everything. It's the most vital thing they have. And he said, without trust, you have no speed. But with trust, you move fast. That's why ultimately trust is everything, because it affects the speed at which we can move and the cost of everything. I like to put it this way. Nothing is as fast as the speed of trust, and nothing is as profitable as the economics of trust. You can put a financial value on it.
Hey, Stephen, we have a lot of high performers here, a lot of folks that really get it. How do they benchmark where they are relative to a high-performing culture with an innovative point of view and a speed indication. How best to benchmark yourself?
Variety of different ways you can do it. You can do it formally or informally. Formally includes things like you can actually measure trust. Trust is a perception, and you can measure perceptions through anonymous surveying. And just like you can measure engagement, you can also measure trust. And you can look at the level of trust on a team or in an organization. I've worked with a lot of IT organizations where they've actually gotten a snapshot at measuring the level of trust inside their IT organization. And sometimes even with the executive team of the IT organization or with their business partners that they serve to measure the level of trust, both where the trust is at, but also why it's at where it's at, the components of it, the credibility of the components, the behavioral components. So you can actually formally measure trust if you want to. But apart from that, you can even kind of informally look at the behaviors that are taking place. Do people talk straight? Or are they spinning? Do they clarify expectations, or is there guessing going on everywhere? Do people practice accountability and own things, or is there finger pointing and blaming? Do people listen first and truly understand, or are people listening really with the intent just to respond and to reply? We could go on and on and on. You can kind of look at the behaviors that are going on inside of a team or in an organization, and that will give you a sense of the level of trust that is operating there. So from formal measures to informal measures, there's a lot of ways of really looking at where you are at the level of trust on your team, in your organization.
Hey, great stuff, Stephen. How about building a culture of storytelling, talking about trust, talking about speed, talking about innovation? Storytelling is important, isn't it? And we have a bunch of recognized award winners here today. They're going to be telling their stories. Celebration is important as well, right?
Absolutely, it is. We got to celebrate. We got to recognize this. Storytelling is vital. And that's why I think the role that the IT organization plays and the IT leaders play, whether as CIO and the -1 or the CISOs, whatever your role is, you are vital to the trust relationship inside of the entire organization, both IT, but also the organization at large. And I'll tell you why. Because most the company that you're serving, that you're part of, your broader organization, generally speaking, most people don't understand the technology. You do within the IT team and organization. And so the rest of the organization needs to trust you. And because they don't know the technology, but they're trusting both that you can keep the lights on, so to speak, security, reliability, all the things you got to do, but also transform the organization through technology and stay current, and then also becoming a business partner to the business. You're doing all these things at once. And so you really play this role of driving trust. And when you lead out with this, when you model trust by who you are and how you lead, when you extend trust to your team and to your stakeholders, to your partners, and when you inspire people by connecting with people and connecting to purpose, it enables you to tell a great story. And by becoming a model, you then can become a mentor. And we need more of that today, to be a model and a mentor. And that's really probably my challenge to the great leaders that are here today, because this is the award ceremony. And we've got winners of this that are really doing a great job, is first be a model, then be a mentor. And you can literally impact the entire organization, not just through technology, but even through culture. And I think the IT organization can be the catalyst to make it happen. And it starts with each of us as leaders.
Awesome stuff, Stephen. Thanks so much for coming for today's celebration. And it's great to have you in person here as well. Thank you.
You're welcome, Hunter. It's always great to be with you. And I honor all of you that are here today for our celebration.
Next up, we have Gary Sorrentino, the Global Deputy CIO at Zoom. Gary, welcome to the celebration and congratulations for being an HMG Global Leadership Institution recognized CIO.
It's great being here.
Past 13, 14 months have been a bit unreal, off the charts in terms of, let's call it what normal really used to be like, but now it is the new normal, right? And now we have this hybrid environment, work from anywhere. Talk to us a little bit about this this big dilemma we all have now is managing this dispersed workforce. Are we in the office? Or are we working from home? The hybrid scenario?
I have to tell you, the next disruption is definitely going to be the hybrid scenario. You know, as we've discussed before, sending everybody home was on an email. Okay. And everybody was very open. Everybody was creative. Everybody was understanding. But now we've had 14 months to think about it. We've had 14 months to plan, right? We knew that front door was going to open someday, right? Now, I don't think we expected it to be this long, but we expected it to open someday. But I think that this hybrid workforce will be the next disruption, because how do we manage people when they're working from where they want and they're working on their own time zones? This hybrid workforce is going to be a little bit of a challenge.
Gary, you've had a great career. What an amazing career, Ascent. Talk to us a little bit about your career and what brought you to Zoom.
My career spans about 4 decades. So the first half of my career, I started out as a mainframe tech, Fortran programmer too long ago, early 80s, late 70s. And so I worked there maybe half of my career, maybe 20 years. And then when I left that job, I became a gig worker, and I went to work for a bank called UBS. And at that time, this gentleman I met, who we all know, convinced me to work on Wall Street, and it was Harry Moseley. And so I worked with him at UBS. And then together we went to Credit Suisse when UBS was bought by Swiss Bank. And then after that, we parted a little bit. So he went to do other things. I went to Citigroup. I spent a little bit of time at Citigroup, but the major part of my career on Wall Street was with JP Morgan. And in late 2019, I left JP Morgan. And through those jobs, I've been a CFO, a COO, a CIO, a CTO, and a CISO. So I've covered a lot of the different positions inside tech companies. And it starts out in 2017 when Harry calls me and says, "Hey, I'm retiring." I said, "Great, I owe you dinner." About 4 or 5 days later, he calls me up and he says, "I decided to go back to work." I was like, "Well, I get my dinner back? Where are you going?" And he said, "Zoom." Now, this is 2017. And the words that came out of my mouth at that time was, "What the hell is Zoom?" Right? In 2017, right? Zoom wasn't the verb that it is today. Okay, let's go forward 2 years. I call Harry in 2019. "Hey, I'm retiring from JP Morgan." He goes, "Great. Why don't you meet Eric?" I fly out with Eric, and Eric goes, "When are you retiring?" I said, 4 days ago. He goes, "Why don't you work for me?" And words came out of my mouth. I said, "Sure, why not?"
So it's really about the power of relationships and networking over the years, right?
It's about the power of relationships. Exactly. You can't imagine how many people you know because of other people. Relationships is where it's at.
So reputation matters, delivery matters, staying connected matters, staying engaged matters. What about during this pandemic? People that leaned in really accelerated their whole profile in industry, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, there are some really great leaders. There are people who have gone out there and decided, "Hey, we're going to make this work. Among all odds, we're going to make this work. So how are we going to make it so that people can still be collaborative? How are we going to make it so people can interact with each other?" There's been some great leaders that have really leaned in and said, "How's it going to work?" Now we have to see what the next set of leaders are going to do, because now you got to change a little bit, right? Now you have to have empathy. Now you have to really figure out, what do my employees need? What do they want? What does the business need? And, how do you take what worked pre-pandemic, what worked during the pandemic, and how do you use some sort of math to figure out what the future model should look like? And I think that's going to be the next challenge. Hopefully those same leaders are going to come up and figure it out.
People make the difference on some level. The technology is relatively easy.
Yes. Does companies like Zoom have to make the technology? We have to make virtual more human, for sure, right? But you're right. At the end of the day, we have to look at how are leaders going forward in this world. So think about this. What happens if a leader says, "Yes, we support a hybrid workforce, but the whole management team goes to work every day," right? People follow by example, right? What I do, not what I say. And so I hope that the leaders go forward and decide, look, if we're going to support a hybrid work model, I'm going to work hybrid, right? The employees have to see that if they decide to work hybrid, they decide to do a work from home, they decide to do a work from everywhere, how do we get people back to an equal playing field?
So what does success or winning look like in this new environment?
Today, it's about career growth. A lot of people upskilled during the pandemic. A lot of people are thinking about, a lot of careers were put on hold during the pandemic. How do we get people to feel, hey, I can make it to the next level, right? My company supports this new workforce and this new way of working. I think that's just so important to make people feel they're included and to make sure that they feel equal. You know, no more, come on, Hunter, me and you have been around a long time. How many times we had an audio conference call or a video conference call and someone dials in on audio and we forget they're even there? At the end of the call, we don't even say goodbye. How do we change that? And Zoom's looking at things like Smart Gallery, and we're looking at things to say, how do we make it so that everybody who's on this call, regardless if there are 5 people in a conference room and 3 people at a desk and 3 people working from home, they all have to feel equal, because they are now.
You know, when you think about a CIO, what one piece of advice would you give to a CIO, CTO, or CISO right now in this new hybrid environment?
I think empathy for your employees. I think that's the first thing you have to understand. Not everybody has changed their way they think about work. Everybody's personal circumstances are a little different. You know, you're opening the front door, tell people to come back to work. We have a lot of people where the schools aren't open yet. And so they have to worry about the kids. So I think for the CIOs out there, there is no game plan. You can't take 40 years of experience and say, I know what to do, because there was no run book for this, right? Everybody, imagine that Friday, right? I'm sure your company went through it. Hello, don't come back to work. Grab as much as you can. There was no game plan for 100% of a company globally going home, as well as their clients going home. And so I think it's have empathy, continue to learn, embrace each other, because we'll learn from each other. You know, look at someone else's success and failure and learn from that, right? You don't always have to have the answer yourself, but you have to have a support network that can help you be successful.
Hey, give us some inspiration on hope on a professional level, on a personal level. You know, what this whole past 14 months living experiment, what you learned from yourself and your own career ascent, and what you want to share with our audience here today, today's celebration, and what does today's recognition mean to you?
I learned in 14 months I can be a really different person than I was pre-pandemic, right? I learned how to fill in time that I never had time for. I learned to make time for things that I never had time for. I think I learned I was part of a machine, right? And that's what, when you're in the banking industry in Wall Street, you're part of a machine. And I think what I learned is I do better when I'm not just part of that machine, and that I am Gary, and that I'm upskilling myself and I'm taking time for myself. And so I think we've all learned something different about ourselves. Now it's to figure out, okay, hopefully we tone down the parts that were bad. We amplified the parts that are good, right? And we're moving forward with a new mindset and a new way of thinking about it.
Interesting. Very enlightened approach there. And Gary, what does the HMG network mean to you, the platform, and how we kept people connected over the past 14 months? What does it mean to you and your friends around the world? Organizations
like yourself, I'm so proud to be affiliated with you guys. You did what we needed. Here's what we needed. We needed to stay connected. We're all leaders. We needed to listen to each other. We needed a platform where we could all talk about openly success and failure. What's working, what's not working, right? This is a time where we're learning. Upskilling could be just learning from your peers, right? But that's hard to do through email and personal phone calls. And platforms like HMG have allowed, look, I speak at a lot of your events, but I attend a lot of your events, right? I not only want to be someone who's voicing my opinion, I want to be someone who's listening to other people's opinions. And how am I, and these are people I respect. So when they're talking to me about their success and failures, right, I need to take that in and figure out, again, how do I learn from other people's mistakes, and how do I take their successes and make it even better?
Gary, thank you so much. We're really excited and proud to have Zoom as a key player and a partner of ours. And congratulations on the recognition, and thanks to the Zoom team for doing such amazing work in the past, today, and the future. And thank you for partnering with us on today's celebration.
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you again for this honor. It's been a pleasure.
Great to see you, Gary. Talk soon.
Great to see you, Hunter.
And next up, we have Angela Yoakum, EVP and Chief Transformation Digital Officer of Novant Health, to the celebration. Angela, you're one of our top picks. Congratulations as a national recipient of the HMG Global Leadership Institute 2021 program. Great to see you.
Oh, thank you so much. It's so fun to be here.
Love it. And we probably have several hundred folks around the world watching this. It's a global program, a global broadcast. So again, thrilled. Hey, what was it about the opportunity at Novant Health that attracted you? And you really do have a brilliant, visionary CEO, right?
He has a vision for healthcare and the way in which healthcare will expand and change as an industry that is heavily intertwined with the advances in technology, which of course are in support of the advances that we see in science and medicine. And so he at the very beginning and the board, which is a very strong board, understood that the need to have a technology leader in place who is a strategist, who is a technologist, as well as understanding how to run digital channels and expand traditional channels through digital means was extraordinarily important. And so he supported me and the rest of the executive team, who come from a variety of backgrounds as well and are all fabulous. They've all supported me in our growth of the digital products and services practice at Novant Health. And as a result, we've been able to expand access to care remarkably. We've improved quality of care extraordinarily. And I believe we are known as one of the more innovative healthcare systems in the US. And it's been a wonderful 3.5 years.
What's the overall mission of Novant?
Well, it's to expand, it's to make our communities healthier, one patient at a time. And so all of the communities we serve, of course, have historically been geographically bound because the way in which healthcare has been practiced historically, it's a very physical sort of activity. Our geography, our footprint spans 4 states in the southeastern US. We have 750 to 800 locations. But as we all know, especially this year, after the events of this past year, we all know that delivery of healthcare and management, active management of health and wellness need not be reliant on a physical interaction. And so our digital health activities and digital medicine activities continue to expand to the point where now we can start thinking about making every community healthier, not just those that sit within our geographic footprint.
What did you get accomplished during this past 13, 14 months that you couldn't have gotten accomplished without this global economic crisis?
We didn't have to make a whole lot of change to it, as crazy as that sounds, to address this global pandemic. So this is why I say that. Number one, we were already preparing for a future that was highly virtual. We already had an estate that we had put in place that allows us to flex and flow with, care delivery happening in a variety of new types of locations, including pop-up locations, including field hospitals, including whatever we needed. We already had a supply chain in place that is highly creative, very flexible, no single points of failure, thank goodness. A lot of the things that we heard, and of course, we're all highly virtualized from a back office work perspective anyway. So, a lot of the things that we heard from our colleagues in the industry, in a variety of industries, and the ways in which they had to jump through hoops that were opportunistic, perhaps in nature as a result of the pandemic, we didn't have that.
Well, it sounds like you were already leaning in very aggressively with an amazing vision of a digital transformational agenda in place, right?
That's right. And that's what, my colleagues and across all of our industries are doing. And that's what makes being a technology leader so exciting in the world we live in.
Hey, Angela, one of the themes we're working on in 2021 is leading courageously. What does that mean to you?
The world in which we live is changing so quickly around us that being courageous now means being extraordinarily inclusive and crafting collaborations across an ecosystem of non-traditional partners that allow you to predict what most likely the future will be, prepare for many possible futures, and be able to and willing to pivot if perhaps some of the bets you made were wrong.
We started today's celebration with Stephen M. Covey, a great strategic partner of ours. And Stephen's all about the speed of trust. Talk to me a little bit about the speed of trust on your core team and how important a team is for you in order to perform at high levels.
We are only as good as I just described, our ecosystem, and the entities that are closest to us in our ecosystems are those that are part of the team. So my team, the digital products and services senior staff, are, certainly many friends of HMG. These are senior leaders who have held C-level positions at a variety of great companies globally, and they're now a part of our senior staff and hold the C-level positions that are in our world. So our CIO and our chief data officer and our chief technology officer and our CISO and our chief medical informatics officers and our head of digital health. These are people who are real powerhouses and could stand alone, as the senior most technology leader of any company of any size. And as a result, that's just a tremendous luxury. That is a tremendous luxury because it means we can move very quickly. Because as you know, and as Stephen Covey has said, trust is not just about trusting good intentions and trusting the intentions of others and trusting trusting them as a person. It also means trust in their capabilities. Like you have to trust that I have to trust that not only do you want to do the right thing and will you do your best to do the right thing, but that you actually have the capacity to do the right thing. And in the case of my team, I know they all have the capacity that's required to do the extraordinary work we ask of them and that they recognize is required on a daily basis.
Angela, great stuff. Part of the whole celebration here today is the theme of navigating a course to a brighter future. What does that mean to you? And how do you wake up every day thinking about a better future?
As we discussed, the future is very difficult to predict these days. And so we have to think about many ways in which the world may be evolving around us. And so to get to a brighter future, let's prepare for the most likely scenarios we're going to face in the next 5 years, 10 years. And by that, I don't mean take a defensive tack. I mean take an offensive, not offensive, but an offensive approach to preparing for the capability set that will be required to flex, to thrive, to allow our people to do their best work, to serve our communities in the best possible way we can. And the underpinning for all of that is in having a solid tech capability set. And that's why being in this sort of seat is extraordinarily exciting.
Oh, I love it. It's a big topic in the 2021 HMG research agenda is recruiting and retaining and growing your talent. Just one more follow-up question. What's the special sauce? What's the unique formula? You got to share with us your secret.
The secret is making sure that we have interesting work for people to do, that we reward our people well, that we very intentionally manage our culture. And you, of course, know that we have someone who is an executive who is responsible for managing our culture. In fact, on my team, I have a vice president responsible for culture, learning, and research, Misty Fragan, who you know. But we also have we don't have a CHRO at Novant Health. We have a chief people and culture officer. That's how we think about building a culture of learning, building a culture of excellence, and building a culture in which people who want to make a difference to society are able to come in, be challenged, be impactful, and be rewarded for that work.
Great stuff. Hey, Angela, one final comment. Congratulations, by the way, on being recognized here today. Really great interview and really, truly appreciate all your engagement over the years, 7 years now. One final comment on the HMG platform, the network, the global network that we have in the ecosystem. What is it about HMG that keeps you coming back, and how do we help you and your network?
Very good at picking topics that are appropriate for us to be not only discussing and noodling and hearing about, but that we also can go and take action after we leave. So you can start to see the ripple effect of the HMG work after each one of your big events, because you can start to see the conversations shift, and you can start to see actions being taken as a result of the enhanced context that everyone who participates now has. So it's a societal change that you are positioned to help enact, and I am thrilled to be part of it.
Angela, thank you so much. What a great compliment, and awesome to see you here today at the celebration, and love working together. So take care, and we'll see you again soon. So next up, we have our panel, Leading Courageously and Navigating a Course to a Brighter Future, with our 4 global, national, recognized award winners. Welcome to the panel. Really excited about this session. First up, Mantha Shmarthy, Head of Software Business and Product Management, Global Americas and Asia at Stellantis. Mantha, great to see you.
Thank you, Hunter.
And I see you brought a friend behind you. Is that TRX?
It is the Ram TRX. Yes, it's the 700 horsepower truck that you can, it's street legal, and you can also go off-boarding.
Very interesting.
Off-roading, sorry.
Very interesting. Very cool. Hey, good luck with that, by the way. When you think of the auto industry and you think of your leadership style and you think of kind of leading with the business, congratulations, by the way, on winning the HMG Strategy Global Award, but congratulations on your recent promotion to a new role. Can you tell us a little bit about that role?
Thanks, Hunter. This new role is a P&L role. And for a number of years, I think we have been talking even at HMG conferences that we want CIOs to move into a business role. We want CIOs, I think the next career opportunity should be a P&L responsibility. So I think I am kind of a living testament to that it can happen, that you can be a CIO one day and next day you can be a business leader with P&L responsibility.
Awesome. So what's the P&L that you're involved with? I think it's pretty important in this world of the platform wins, software wins, right?
Yeah. So the objective is to build an end-to-end software platform for autonomy. So for autonomous driving, for electrification, for shared mobility, as well as connected services, with the main vision of making Stellantis a customer-centric, sustainable mobility company.
How exciting. Hey, when you think about leadership style coming out of the pandemic, how would you characterize your leadership style and what were the lessons learned that others might benefit from?
I think as we were going into the crisis, it was not about the company alone and how we would make our business survive during the crisis and during the pandemic. But it was more about the communities that we are in. How do we become community-centric? Not just customer-centric, but how do we become community-centric? So auto industry is rarely known for making agile pivots. But during the pandemic, we pivoted to making masks and donating masks across the world. And we started making components for ventilators. And so that's something that we used our manufacturing facilities to do that. And then we said, okay, there are so many kids that depend on going to school to get a meal for a day. For their entire day, they get that one meal when they go to school. And we said, let's start donating meals. So we have donated millions of meals to school kids across United States. Initially, it started with just the communities in which we had our plants, our manufacturing locations, or our assembly plants. But then we started doing it across United States. So that's the pivot, not only in manufacturing ventilator parts and masks, but also pivoting to showing that we are a company with a heart. And today we won an award from Diversity Inc. for being the most diverse company, the top 50 companies in the United States.
Awesome. Great job. And I know Mark, your COO, came on a summit recently, the Women in Technology Summit, and he was very dialed into diversity. So excellent job. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Hunter. I think that's that. And then also when you look at the business and the transformation that we did at the business, 2 weeks into the crisis, we launched our online retail experience called eShop. So a year and a half ago, before the crisis, if you were to tell me that we can sell cars using the online channel and the customers would not be going to the dealerships, I would say that transformation will happen, but it will take overcoming a lot of resistance from the dealers.
Well, as formally driving that initiative, congratulations there as well.
Yes, and the dealers were actually begging us for having this online retail experience. And today, north of 15% of our sales come from this online channel.
Fantastic. So a little bit more about your leadership style. How do people talk about you? How would you describe yourself?
Collaborative, business oriented, and not only looking at bottom line savings, but how do we make having a big vision, a bold vision, and going after that ambitiously. So transforming our company. That's what my leadership is all about.
I love it, Martha. And what do you get out of the HMG platform and network and the model that we have here? What do you like about it? What do you get out of it?
Oh, meeting wonderful people like Wendy, like Max, like Scott, and then working with them and then making sure you're not dreaming small, but the network helps you continue to dream big.
Great. Love it. And congratulations. Thank you so much, Martha.
Thank you so much.
Excellent. Hey, next up, we have Wendy Pfeiffer. Wendy is the CIO of Nutanix, that hot, high-flying company out of Silicon Valley. Wendy, welcome to the gala and the celebration.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here and honored.
You know, we've had a great relationship over many years now. I'm always blown away about how brilliant you are, how smart you are, and what a real visionary CIO you are in our industry and at Nutanix. Tell us a little bit about your playbook on leadership and your mission during this pandemic, coming out of this crisis, and what's next.
You know, I think we have this wonderful advantage as CIOs at sort of living at the intersection of technology and how to operate that technology. And so, you know, this was a difficult problem, this pivot where companies were digitally transforming, they were accelerating those schedules, they were moving to work remotely, and now we put into the mix consumer technologies and public internet and you know, all of the challenges of time zones and remote work. And so we had this very complex hybrid environment. And this was really a time to think about simplifying, streamlining, enabling the employee experience and the end user experience. And so one of the most exciting things that I got to take part in this year is really advancing our machine learning and AI platforms and timelines tremendously. We went from at the beginning of the pandemic having about 15% of all of our services autonomous to around 85% now, and that's spread through other organizations such as HR, sales operations, development, productivity, et cetera. The other wonderful thing that we got to do is we got to exercise the full extent of several of our products. One of them in particular, called Frame, is a desktop as a service product that runs over public internet. And so when the pandemic hit, we were able to provide that DaaS service for free to folks first in Asia Pacific regions and then in schools and so on, to enable them to keep all of their employees, their students, their constituents connected performantly and securely over public internet. And ultimately, we got to partner with a lot of good vendors, even folks like Zoom, to figure out how to enable them to deliver and scale on the foundation of our hybrid cloud technology. And so, you know, we got to be, I like to joke that in some ways, I get to sort of be the Forrest Gump of the technology industry, you know, sort of in the background, enabling with a smile on our face, cheering folks on, you know, in scene after scene of IT heroism and industry heroism. And it's just a pleasure, you know, to have my elbow in the picture frame.
Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff, Wendy. Thanks so much. We'll circle back to you in just a minute. Hey, next up, we have Max Chan, CIO of Avnet. Max, congratulations on the recognition, and you know, welcome to today's celebration and gala.
Oh, Hunter, thank you so much. A true honor, and I'm saying this not just for myself as for the recognitions. It's really my entire team, without which I don't think this recognition will ever be possible. And I think it's a great year to be a CIO in the last 6 to 12 months. A lot of things has been happening. A lot of things that we have been able to drive through the organization, the enterprise, through the digital transformations. And what better year to do it than this year when Avnet is celebrating our 100 years anniversary in the midst of the pandemic, right? As many of you know, and when you're familiar with Avnet as well, since we are great partners, we pride ourselves to be a relationship organizations, not only with our customers and our partners, but also our employees, right? But that is being tested through the last 12, 13 months with the pandemic, and being able to transform that into a digital environment where people actually get a lot more comfortable in doing business with us, interacting, being much more engaged. In one of our survey that we continue to do throughout the year, right? Employees are telling us that they feel a lot more productive. They are more attuned to understanding and adopting technology to help their productivity. All those things are music to our ears, because I've been trying to drive, technology federations, leveraging IT and data and new capabilities to drive top and bottom line improvements, right, for multiple years. But the pandemic, the silver lining of the pandemic, actually has helped push this agenda forward. And I'm really, really excited with what we have been able to achieve, not only as an IT organization, but Avnet as a whole. So great stuff for sure.
Hey, Max, you've had a great career, and you're doing some amazing work at Avnet now. Talk to us a little bit about the global organization that you lead and run, and your global experience. You lived all around the world, worked all around the world, and in a massive company like Avnet, supply chain matters, and supply chain really is a core issue in this whole current economic scenario, right?
Especially during the start of this whole crisis and pandemic, right? Supply chain was really tested. However, leveraging data and analytics has allowed us to have better headlights into what needs to happen, either through our buying process, our stocking, our pricing, and everything else, right? And then not forgetting the partnership that we are having with our supplier partner, with our customers, with all the employees that we have, enabling us to come together really to form that global community, ensuring that we help each other to get the right product or components to the right place at the right time in order for us to continue to drive this supply chain and move this forward, right? I think this will continue to be the value that IT brings, but more importantly, Avnet brings to the entire industry, right? Being able to bring all the various components together and deliver best-in-class service to all our partners.
Excellent stuff. Hey, Max, what do you get out of the HMG platform and the HMG model?
I'm just going to repeat what our colleagues here have mentioned. The relationship, the collaboration, the partnership, right? I think in the last 12, 13 months, right, when HMG went virtual, I have actually been able to spend a lot more time with my colleagues and counterparts across the nation, more than I used to be able to, right? Wendy and I, even though Avnet and Nutanix have been great partners for multiple years, we hardly even have the opportunity to meet each other. But now we see each other every month or every couple of months through the HMG platform, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. I'm talking about entire nation. So great stuff, Hunter.
Excellent. Thanks, Max. Great to see you. And again, congratulations. Next up, it's Scott Strickland. Scott's the EVP and CIO, Wyndham Hotel and Resorts. Hey, Scott, great to see you.
Hey, Hunter, thank you very much for having me here. And I'm coming to you from the virtual lobby of our newest Wyndham Grand in Sanya, China.
Oh, wow. Dude, amazing. I love it. What a great place. We got to go. Hey, Scott, you guys, you all were hit really hard, and you're probably one of the most positive people I know in the world. How did you pivot and accelerate? And then where are you guys now? And the world's opening up again. You must be all excited to call me.
Absolutely, Hunter. I was part of some HMG sessions early on when COVID was hitting hospitality very, very difficult. It was some really hard decisions that we had to go through. And what it really did is made me look internally as a leader and say, okay, how do I change? You know, what's important to my team? This wasn't work from home. This was work under lockdown. We had to be more compassionate, more aware, more leading by objective and managing by objective than we ever had before, because people maybe needed to take care of relatives or needed to take care of kids. So changed our leadership style as an overall team. We got through the tough times. We helped our franchisees, we helped our guests, we helped our team members get through those tough times. And throughout it all, we did not stop investing in IT. And that's what's really exciting, because for that year, we were able to make significant investments in contactless, significant investments in mobile technology, investments in customer data platforms and AI, that as we come out right now, and we're leading out of this recession for us in hospitality, we're going to be able to leverage. And our customers are going to be able to leverage technologies in an economy brand such as a Days Inn that they simply wouldn't expect. You know, you wouldn't expect to be able to perform mobile payment at a Days Inn or to perform mobile check-in at a Super 8, but you'll be able to when you revisit our hotels. So that constant investment and our ability to deliver during that downturn is going to pay off for us as we come out of this.
Excellent stuff. And what about teams? Your team, your IT team, partnering with the business, your external partners, how important were they?
Oh, absolutely. We have 3 customer groups and then our external partners. So our 3 customer groups are internals, you know, us working together. We've never been closer to the business. You have a couple of Zoom meetings in your pajamas and you get to know each other really well. My CEO is running daily checkpoints with his directs. So we're seeing each other every day for an hour, and we didn't used to do that. So internally, we're really teamed. From a franchisee standpoint, I've interacted with more franchisees this past year than I ever have. We have 6,000 franchisees. I've interacted with at least 500 of them, you know, in terms of understanding what's going on in their business and how can we help them. From a vendor standpoint, early on, we discovered there were going to be vendor heroes and villains. And we were surprised by where some of those turned out, but people who are going to help us invest and help get through this together and say, we don't care. Here, try our technology, experiment with it. Don't worry about payment terms. We want to see you on the other side of this. We want to do, like Mamatha said, we want to help the community. Whatever it takes to help the community, we're here for you. And that's going to make us more powerful coming out of this, because we know who those vendor heroes are now. And we're going to be able to leverage them, and they'll be able to leverage us moving forward.
Great stuff. Hey, Scott, congratulations on the recognition and for winning.
Thank you very much, Hunter. And as Max said, it's a team effort. Absolutely. I couldn't do this out with our incredible business and IT team to support us.
Great stuff. And what are you getting out of the HMG platform and network? Anything interesting?
It was really important, certainly as we headed into this crisis, to just be able to see some different faces, you know, and then to bounce some ideas off of people and saying, here's how I'm solving for it. How are you solving for it? And even before that, and as we come out of it, building these relationships with folks that you may not have known, perhaps even live nearby. I actually have coffee set up for next week. Yes, I'm double vaxxed, but I have coffee set up next week with a CIO I met as part of your group, Hunter. And we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about what's hybrid work look like. Well, this is what it looks like in his industry. This is what it's going to look like in ours. How do we improve together based on that?
Awesome. Love it. Hey, final kind of a question here, folks. We'll go back to Mantha. There are 2 buckets. You can do the professional question or the personal question. On the personal side, I love, Mantha, when we recognized you in Detroit several years ago as the CIO of the Year award recipient. You brought your whole family there. That blew me away. That was so touching. So you get that angle, or on the professional side, what's on your mind next, Stellantis? What are you thinking about?
I think what I'm thinking of now is how do we drive customer centricity and agility at scale at Stellantis? Because in a traditional automotive, we are used to 3 to 5 year product cycle. And now the customer's expectations are similar to the smartphone. I have a connected car, so I want to be getting updates on a daily basis, or based on whenever they think that they should have a personalized feature or an update, or including quality for quality reasons, not to go to a dealership, to a service center to get an update on the car, but to get an update over the air. So that's my remit, and that's what transforming this automotive industry into a mobility tech.
Love it. Amazing. Great job. Congratulations and good luck with it. I know you'll hit it out of the park.
Thank you, Hunter.
Awesome stuff. Hey,
we
Wendy.
We have a great team at Stellantis, so I'm very confident we'll hit it out of the park.
Awesome. Love it. Hey, Wendy, over to you again. When you think about innovation and product development and helping, the business reimagine, reinvent, you guys are doing some amazing things at Nutanix. That's one idea, one question, or you can take the personal side as well.
Well, actually, if there's one thing we've learned during the pandemic is that we have an opportunity to bring our whole selves, our blended selves to work. And so that is a boon for innovation at Nutanix. We have people who are being creative across all areas of the spectrum, creative around human machine interactions and around using consumer tech and enterprise tech, and people who are innovating within and in partnership with other industries. So there's just so much opportunity as we move forward to be a community of folks who are bringing all the dimensions of our humanity and our technologies to bear on frankly, this sort of macro thing, this bigger thing of making the world a better place. There's a lot we have to rebuild and a lot we have to remake going forward. And so it's going to take us synergizing across all those dimensions of our industries and companies and ourselves. And I love to work that way. I'm excited to get up in the morning. I'm excited to see what I'm going to discover next. And the innovation using these existing technologies and tools and capabilities in new ways. It's a privilege. I'm so glad I lived to see this and be part of this.
And Wendy, the future role of the CIO, the potential, it's pretty awesome, right? Where the CIO role can go.
Yeah, I mean, and it's up to us, right? We now have a seat at the table, so now we're going to dig in and contribute and bring that mix of experience we have to bear. And also extend that, right, the way that Mamatha is doing inside of her company, into board opportunities, into community opportunities. Community is so dependent on technology now, and so the role of the CIO is much more a leader into the future, and we have some responsibilities to be worthy of that and to be humble and prepared for that role. And so like everybody said at the beginning, there is no more exciting time to be a CIO than right now and going into the next few years.
Love it. Thanks so much, Wendy. Great to see you and great to have you on the panel and be recognized today at the celebration. Hey, Max, over to you. When you think about leading with the line of business and leading with the C-suite, what's in your mind?
Hunter, you and me, we know each other for a long time, and you know that you always like to tell people how I see myself as a business leader as opposed to an IT leader. In fact, what I've been doing the last 6 to 12 months is that I want my entire organizations to have that recognitions, my entire IT organizations to be able to do that, to have a seat at the table at every level of the organizations, right? So I think the last 12, 13 months has actually pushed us into that directions. And I'm so glad to see that many of my next level leaders are really at the table with the business, helping to define the challenges and problems and creating innovative solutions to help address that and be at the discussion in the first meeting when we start talking about strategic priorities, as opposed to at the 10th or 20th meeting when people have already decided what to do, right? So I'm very excited with how IT has actually gained recognitions and stature at AFNAT to be able to get to that level.
Great stuff, Max. Congratulations again, and thanks so much for being such a great fan of the HMG model and a supporter of us. Hey, Scott, kind of wrapping it up here, final word. I remember February of 2020, you sent me a picture. You were out in the Valley with an offsite with your CEO and management team, just came from Google. You guys were riding bikes along the water, and it was such a pinnacle point of your career. I think you're saying, this is amazing. We're out here doing an innovation, kind of a innovation tour of the Valley together with the C-suite, and you can take it from there.
We brought the business leaders out to Silicon Valley, and because they recognized, yes, we're a hotel company, but we're also a technology company. And for me, that was absolutely pivotal. There's nothing more a CIO could ask for in terms of having his CEO, his CMO, the COO, the whole C-suite there, and understanding how pivotal, how important technology is to them. And coming out of that offsite, we built relationships. You know, sounds silly, but riding those bikes and then having some wine later that evening brought us to a whole new level of relationships that we'd never experienced before. Congratulations.
And then, by the way, wasn't Stephen M.R. Covey opening up today's celebration? The infamous Stephen M.R. Covey, my new best friend. Wasn't that amazing? And this whole notion of innovation, collaboration, and the speed of trust. How important is that on a 1 to 10? Incredible, right?
10, 11, if I could get my elbow up. So.
Max, trust is important. Martha?
It's 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all the numbers.
Yeah.
Right. Excellent. Hey, look, thank you all for being such great supporters and fans and making tonight's celebration so amazing. We look forward to seeing you at the Global Gala at the end of the year. Thanks again.
Thank you so much.
Hunter.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace.
Bye.
And drum roll, please. Next up, we will formally celebrate our first 50 national recipients of the 2021 Global Leadership Institute Awards. Each of these winning IT leaders and their teams have demonstrated excellence in one of our 5 categories: diversity, equity, and inclusion, leading into the C-suite, creating new go-to-market business models, modernizing enterprise architecture, and building a culture of trust. Get ready to celebrate this group of distinguished honorees and hear the highlights of their personal comments on the meaning and impact of this award. At the end of the session, you will have an opportunity to meet and mingle with all recipients on the V Together platform, an interactive and engaging experience. There will be a link posted in the chat, and we will also share instructions for the platform at the end of the session. Now, please join us in celebrating the HMG Global Leadership Institute Award winners.
But truthfully, all of this great work would not be possible without a fantastic team around me. It really is a testament to how Baker Hughes and our culture show up that I have the opportunity to work with some incredibly amazing people.
But personally, it's not me, it really is the team. It makes a great team to make all of this work and happen.
And I would say this would not have been possible without the support of the extremely talented team that I have at Bayer. You're by far the best. It's a joy for me every day to be serving as your leader. Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart.
I'm really very excited and appreciative of the opportunity that I have received from HPE. I would like to congratulate and thank every member of my IT team, as well as specifically the CIO staff who has come together quickly in a very difficult time that we have had last year, and not only survive, but thrive in this environment.
I can say that I've been blessed with some really great people to work with, and to work for a company whose culture is really second to none. These guys are truly the dream team. They're truly great partners to our business.
Most importantly, this wouldn't be possible without great people doing great work, and they make my job easier.
None of this would be possible for me personally without this wonderful team of people. We are all in it together all the time to do excellent work at Pearson Partners.
I'm very, very proud and honored for this recognition. I can say that it absolutely would not be possible without the incredibly talented and dedicated team that I work with at Cancer Treatment Centers of America. This is by far the most talented, committed group that I've had an opportunity to work with over a career that has had many wonderful teams. And so I really enjoy working with these colleagues every day, and am incredibly grateful for their contributions, which help all of us succeed and certainly have taught me and helped me grow professionally for the last year and a half.
I'm deeply honored in being recognized. Thank you very, very much. HMG does a great job in bringing in peers, in CISOs and -1 to be able to share those insights and experiences. That is how we win, is by communicating and collaborating. And the HMG platform is really superior in bringing together the right people with the right insights and opening up those lanes of communication.
Thank you, August. Thank you, Hunter. And thank you to the rest of the community. It's an honor to be in the company you put me in. I appreciate that. But I have to say, much of this is just the work of many others that we have collectively worked together to drive digital transformation. I want to thank my team, and then for the exceptional community you've built. Thank you for what you do as well. I really appreciate it.
This has been a presentation of HMG Live.